Today on Sauna Talk, we meet with photographer George Cory, who is documenting the British sauna movement. George Cory is reporting in from Folkestone on the southeast coast of England. He is a current master's student studying photography and is an avid sauna enthusiast. We catch up with George in his hometown in Great Britain. He is one of the first photographers in the UK to immerse himself in this emerging culture, and has so far documented the owners, builders, and users of authentic saunas in the UK. Reflecting the passion of those involved, George takes the opportunity to express the importance of sauna culture. He shares in imagery and dedication how these values are being adopted in Britain. During our visit, you'll get to hear from George about the exhibition of his photo project, Löyly Life, in his hometown of Folkestone from Monday, August 15th through Saturday, August 20th, 2022. The exhibition will also be the launch for a small run of books created by George that feature the project. The book includes foreword from sauna owner Sam Glyn-Jones and a Q&A with Heartwood Saunas founder Olly Davey. British Air offers several nonstop flights from North America to Britain, but if you can't make it to the exhibition and would like to secure a copy of the book, please message George on his Instagram at George Cory _. The photo books are priced at £15. Free shipping unless it's international. So without further ado, I'd like to bring in George Cory to Sauna Talk. This show is brought to you by Lampa Manufacturing, maker of the Vapor Fire wood furnace and the Kuma wood-fired sauna stove. Lampa Manufacturing is a family-owned fourth-generation production company based in the northeast area of Minnesota on the edge of the Boundary Waters Canoe area, shadowed by old-growth white pine and birch tree forests. Each Kuma wood-fired sauna stove is handmade by local craftsmen in the land of 218. This is a place where, if someone has a flat tire, people stop and help out. This is a place where, for decades, if someone, say, had a crack in their car axle, they would limp their vehicle over to Daryl Lampa at Lampa Manufacturing, where he would stop what he was doing to help weld their friends' or strangers' vehicle and get them moving again. All the quarter-inch steel for each Kuma stove is U.S. made, Minnesota sourced, as is all the material for your Kuma stove. Garrett Lampa is president, CEO, and fourth-generation owner. I drove him crazy recently, challenging him to try to identify one single component of the Kuma stove that is not produced on-site or locally sourced. If all this isn't enough for you to replace your tin can sauna stove with a Kuma, let's talk about the heat and the longevity. During my 12-day trip to Finland in 2019, I enjoyed 50 different saunas throughout Finland. The heat I experienced over there in Finland is right up there with the heat from a Kuma stove. And this makes sense, as the 4 generations of Lampas are all 100% Finnish, and all 100% Finnish welders, and all 100% empirical tinkerers who would gather together in their garage in 20 below zero and mess around with how to make a stove that burns the hottest. Good heat is in their DNA, and so is sustainability. The Kuma stove burns super clean and efficiently. My neighbors never know when it's sauna time, as my Kuma does not emit any smoke, especially as I've mastered the upside-down fire technique to get it rocking. You'll never find a Kuma in the landfill. My cabin's sauna's Kuma is from 1996. My backyard sauna's Kuma is 2003. They purr along as well as the day I installed them. The only question you'll have to ask yourself with a Kuma is who you will be leaving your sauna to in your will for when you leave this earth. I dig the Kuma stove, and I would applaud it and hope you consider one for yourself as well. All right, right. Well, wow. The global series continues. Welcome to Sauna Talk.
Hi, Glenn. Nice to meet you.
And you too, George. George Cory, where's your hometown? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm originally from a small town called Deal, which is on the southeast coast of England. So there's a town really close to it called Dover, which many of you might know. It's the closest point to France in the UK. It's only about an hour away from London. And yeah, I've lived by the seaside all my life.
Beautiful. Yeah. How far from the sea are you right at this moment?
I was there just this morning, literally a 5-minute drive.
Were you in the sea? Did you go in the water?
No, not today. Just a sort of bit of lunch on the beach, which was
beautiful. Nice. What's the water temp in Celsius?
I think at the moment 18 and a half.
18 and a half. So pretty chilly. Wim Hof would be pretty happy with that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, it gets a lot colder.
Right on. So people aren't, out there swimming recreationally with 18 degrees Celsius, or are they in England?
Yeah, I mean it's sort of peak summer at the moment, so it's the warmest it gets, and it's pretty warm. I think it goes down to about 9 or 10 in the winter, so it's quite a big difference.
Yeah, right. And this is the foundation for how sauna has popped up around Great Britain, around the coastline specifically. Yeah. So we're here to talk about your book project, which the moment I saw what you're doing, I just said, oh, that would be great to have George on Sauna Talk on a couple levels. You have this intimate connection to a lot of these sauna projects that are popping up all over Great Britain. That's certainly on the surface, but also being a photographer, I just thought it would be great for you to share with listeners today. A lot of our listeners are in North America, and I just think it's going to be really great to share a little bit about what's happening in Great Britain with authentic sauna, with what we call, Finnish sauna, or traditional sauna, or whatever adjective you need for it. And one area, if it's cool, we'll dive right into this. But tell us about your background and sauna and what sauna means to you, George.
Yeah, so I'm currently studying for a master's in photography. So this is kind of where it all started. I spent the first, so I'm doing it part time. I started in 2020, and it kind of kicked off with a project that focused on the seaside, the British seaside. So obviously, that's some deep-rooted history and culture and all that sort of stuff. And there was lots of sort of subcultures that I came across, like sort of wild swimming and surfing, and even things like beach yoga and stuff like that. And so I focused on that for a long time. And then, so in kind of like just before that, in 2019, sort of October time, I was working with my good friend Sam, and he ran a non-for-profit. He was doing his PhD at the time, and it was focused on surf therapy, cold water therapy, and those sorts of things for students that were sort of struggling with their mental health. And he was researching all about that, as well as doing this initiative to sort of get them out and about. And one of the things that he did was something called Rise and Conquer. So you'd get a big group of students up at like sunrise, and they'd all go down to the beach and jump in the sea when it was freezing cold. And he did this quite regularly. And then one day he was like, this fire pit that we use after jumping in the sea isn't quite warm enough. We're all sort of huddled around it and we can't get warm. And he had the bright idea of thinking, oh, why don't we bring a sauna down onto the beach? So I worked with him closely on that. And the next time we did it, he got a guy called Olly Davey, who's the owner of Heartwood Saunas, which is based in Wales. He basically got Olly to transport one of his slightly smaller saunas all the way from Wales to Bournemouth, which is where I was living at the time, which is like a 5 or 6 hour car journey, if not more, just for a morning of sort of sea swimming and saunaing. So that was just over 3 years ago, and that was kind of my first introduction to authentic sauna, because Olly is a master craftsman in the sauna world. Obviously, the specs that he makes his sauna to are incredible. So
beautiful. It was
like a high level of first experience, I guess.
Right on, man. Is he building mobile? Generally, mostly mobile sauna?
No, most of the time they are static, I think, and sort of he does a lot of installs in people's gardens and sort of hotels and stuff like that. But he has made a few portable ones. Yeah.
Right on, right on. So it's interesting. You came to sauna through the cold, in a nutshell.
Yeah. As a way to warm back up again.
Amen, brother. Yeah, I hear you. So the photo project itself, tell us a little bit, to just catch up listeners to what you did and what you have in your hands, and what you're doing with what you have in your hands.
Yeah. So like, as I mentioned, I was working closely with Sam, and after he brought this sauna down from Wales, him and his partner Arlene, who is Finnish, they had the bright idea of sort of getting their own sauna and bring it to the beach in Bournemouth. So once I knew this was happening, I needed to think of a new project for my masters. The first one I'd finished, and there was a good connection between the seaside and this new sort of sauna subculture. So in the process of them figuring out how they were going to get this sauna and what they were going to do and how they were going to run it, I helped them research kind of the saunas that were already around in the UK. So there was a few sort of prominent ones that were around at the time. Obviously, there's loads more now. But I travelled with them sort of to meet the sauna owners and sort of watch them as they got their own sauna. And at the start of the Masters project, their sauna had just been built and it had arrived. So yeah, I was already creating some sauna content. So I was working closely with Sam and Arlene to get some social media imagery ready for their sauna and making some videos for the other sauna owners in the UK. So yeah, it sort of spiraled from there, really.
Into what? It spiraled into, and what are you holding? And hold it up for.
Here you go. I don't know if you can see that. Let me unblur my background really quick.
Oh no, you're good. Just hold it up there, brother. Yeah. So
there we go. So yeah, I have Löyly Life. So this is my book. It features 50 pages of sauna imagery and some text and some sort of questions and answers with Olly, the guy that built the sauna in Bournemouth.
Absolutely cool. And it took you about a year to compile to travel and compile the photo images.
Yeah. So I started just over a year ago. And I'm reaching the end of my masters now. So I finished the masters in September.
See, that's the difference between Europe and America, right? Like in America, a master's thesis is going to a library and sitting down and immersing yourself and driving yourself bananas. Whereas in Europe, you guys get to go travel around and take sauna for a year. I'm kind of joking. No, there's plenty of master's programs globally that allow you to really hands-on and get your hands on, but your master's is in what specifically?
It's just photography, yeah. So I'll have a master's in photography when I finish.
Fantastic. Yeah. And is your minor in good heat? Is that your minor?
Yeah. I guess you could say the minor's in sauna. Yeah, I guess so.
Right on, brother. Good. Hey, and I'll just springboard into that. What does good sauna mean to you? Putting you on the spot, George. You've traveled, and how many saunas have you visited, and how many saunas have you sweat in? Roughly, if you had to distill it in number form.
So over the course of the year that I've been sort of making the project, I've visited 7 in the UK, I think. Mm-hmm. Do you want me to list them?
No, we'll come back. Lovely, but we'll come back. So you sat on the bench with seven of them.
Yeah. I just returned from a trip to Finland, so I managed to get a couple more in there.
Did you do 50 in 12 days, or how many?
I wish. No, we only managed 2 in the week that we were there, which is rookie numbers, I think.
That's okay. So what does good sauna mean to you? Being that you've traveled and sat on the bench for several saunas.
Yeah, I mean, annoyingly, the one sauna that I have most access to in the UK is in a leisure centre. So it's kind of like a gym sauna, which obviously isn't the same. It's electric, which is fine, but there's no way of creating the Löyly. There's no way of creating the steam. It's just a hot room, which is fine because I can still sweat and cool down again. But proper sauna is wood fired most of the time. nice wood, nice atmosphere. It's got the smell. It's got the right stones. You've got your bucket and your ladle, and it's not much more intricate than that. But there's a big difference between these sort of gym saunas and an authentic sauna.
Thank you for that, George. Yeah, man, I could totally relate. You touched on two important things. Number one is it's not complicated, is it?
No.
I mean, good sauna need not cost an annual wage to construct or to purchase. It need not be elaborate with all kinds of drawings and rules and laws and stuff like that. I mean, the principles of good sauna building are important, are critical, but they're not off the top.
Yeah, you're right. And I wish, obviously, it's getting to that point, but I wish we had more access to that in the UK. It's getting there slowly, but
yeah, man, yeah, cool.
Got a long way to go.
Yes. So, George, when you think of the 7 UK saunas that you visited and documented in your travels, and this is a classic question that I'm sure you'll get asked, if not already, I'm going to put you on the spot. So, out of all the saunas, I'm sure they all have some great elements to them. I mean, but if you had to kind of choose which one first comes to mind as the wow, I relate to this one, and no offense to the other 6, but which ones really would stand out for you? And if you could tell us why, and maybe hold a picture and share it with us.
So I mean, actually, it's the best one was actually the front cover of the book. So this is it's called the Riverside Sauna. And it's in Wales, as I said. So it's owned by Olly Davey of Heartwood Saunas, and I think he kind of uses it. He kind of uses it for personal use, but I think he also uses it as kind of like a show sauna for those that might want to buy one of his. I think he often takes people there to show them how it works and what they could achieve with their sauna. But this sauna, just to give you some context, is located in the middle of Snowdonia National Park in Wales. We travelled up there in February this year, which was freezing cold in the UK. Wales is even colder at that time of year. And it's in the middle of this big Welsh valley. So it's surrounded by hills and trees, and it sits right next to this river, which at the time was quite fast flowing, but I think this time of year it's nice and still. It's a bit like a creek, I suppose, that you can jump in and cool down. But when we were there, it was the depths of winter, and it was the water was, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 degrees, and the sauna was incredible, like the craftsmanship and the aesthetic, and they had a big glass fronted window looking out over the river. It was incredible, and it's sort of minutes away from where they build it and where they source the trees, and surrounded by nature. It's
right on. You touched on something really, really wonderful. I think if you were to grade saunas, there's this numerical grade you can give to sauna in nature. You mentioned earlier about gym sauna. I mean, even if the proprietor of a health club or the gym said, hey man, we're going to do this thing right, and followed all the good design and building principles and stuff like that. Hey man, it's still in a gym, right? Or it's still in a health club. But when you can bring sauna to nature like that, were you close to the river, or what was the cool down?
It was
water element.
Let's see if I can show you.
Yeah, please do. And then, and go ahead.
So on the back of the book, I don't know if you can see that, stretches out the double page, but you can see the river in the back there, and then the sauna was that close. So you just sort of you head down the bank, and there's a rope, and you just climb down straight into the river. So
how many rounds did you do when you had a sauna there?
We must have been there for maybe, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. It was a good solid session, And
did you go in the river, the creek, every sauna round?
It was I mean, it was really difficult because it was so fast flowing that you couldn't just jump in, so you had to be really careful on the rope. But I'd like to revisit when it was a little calmer, but yeah,
still though, that's beautiful.
Good.
That's and what you mentioned as you approached, you hiked into this. How far from the car? Is it a long walk into nature?
Yeah, it was kind of. I mean, in that area, is like really single track roads. There's not a lot of room for cars. There's some like farm vehicles and stuff like that, but we parked right sort of on the top of the hill in a lay-by on the road, and then walked down the hill through the field and then up to the riverbank where the sauna was. So yeah, it was sort of 10 minutes away from the car. So it was like a really sort of overwhelming experience.
And you said it was cold. You went there in February. Like, was it like your ears are cold and you need a stocking cap kind of cold? Because cold, I live in Minnesota, man, and cold for us is like minus 20 Celsius,
Yeah. It wasn't that cold compared, but there wasn't any snow on the ground, but the water was cold. Obviously that's come from the Welsh mountains all the way down. So it's, it was chilly.
Yeah, man. I lived in England in the mid 1980s, and it was a different England back then. I lived in London primarily and stuff, but like the concept of insulation and double glazed windows and stuff that really wasn't happening because the climate you live in Great Britain, but the climate generally it can get cold, but it doesn't get this like bitter cold like Scandinavia. It gets like cold where a stoic father would say, "Put on another sweater." Right?
Yeah.
Like that is it still like that in Great Britain where you have this sort of like stoicism of cold where you just put on another layer generally?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't snow a lot. It doesn't get too icy. So yeah, it's not the coldest place.
It is
where I live anyway, because I live quite down south. So it's it gets worse as you go north, obviously.
Right on. But what is common in your country is this cold damp. Like it can, and I know Fahrenheit so much better, but it can be just call it a little bit above freezing, but it feels so friggin' cold. Your bones are cold. And it was weird when I was living in England. Then I spent a whole summer up in Scandinavia and Sweden and then the Baltic and over to Finland and stuff. And I'm like, wow, these guys address cold quite a bit differently. And that's where I really discovered authentic sauna. And then I moved back to England, and I just found it so interesting how there was this back in the 80s and even into the 90s and stuff, there was this massive cultural disconnect of how to deal with cold. And I just think that your country is just so prime for good sauna. I mean, you described this Welsh climate so beautifully. I mean, in that photo that you took, there's this, mystical steam kind of a thing. And I don't know about you, but I often share with my pals, my sauna buddies, like, what is your ideal climate for sauna? And there's a whole colorful spectrum of ideal climate for sauna for many reasons. But I have to tell you, when in America, like the state of Washington, the Northwest, very much like Britain, where you can have a sustained period of rain, for like a week, 2 weeks and stuff, and it's just damp, And is there any better feeling than stepping into the sauna, and settling yourself on the upper bench when you've been dealing with that cold?
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, when we went to Wales as well, you say about the rain, it had been raining a lot. And the grass and the banks and stuff were so muddy, so we kept having to obviously wash our feet before we go back into the sauna. And but once you get in there, it's perfect.
Fantastic. So as I mentioned, many Sauna Talk listeners are from North America, and it's exciting to see the sauna revolution happening across both continents. And share with us a little bit about the flavor of things with sauna in Great Britain right now. Like, what are you seeing, and where is it going? And, you can page through your your book, if you'd like, and share a photo or two. I just want to turn it over to you. But what's happening over there?
I mean, I think it's still, I think, in the very early stages of where it's going. There's been a few sort of sauna staples, obviously well known in the community, that have been well established for, I don't know, sort of 5 or 6 years now, if not longer. And as I said, like the majority of them are seaside based. There's a few that are sort of more inland, but they'll still be
Tell
near.
us, give us a shout out of a couple of names of early adopters, like the early pioneers.
Yeah, so there's the Beach Books Spa, so that's in Brighton, which is another typical English seaside town. That's owned by the lovely Liz Watson, who was in a recent newspaper article about British saunas was sort of labelled like almost the fairy godmother of UK saunas. She's been around the block a few times in the sauna world, and she's very well known these days. The other one's the Hakel's Community Sauna, which is in Margate, which isn't too far from where I'm from. That was set up by a guy called Don Bridges, who runs like a sort of an eco skincare brand. They make a lot of stuff from seaweed, but he gifted a free sauna to the people of Margate and sort of left it on the beach, and it's run by volunteers, and you just come and go whenever it's open and bring your own wood and stuff like that. And it's those two are sort of the pioneers of the culture in the UK. But then everyone that sort of came after that has done their own thing most of the time.
Right on. And do you know Mika and Wendy?
Mika and Wendy, of the British Sauna Society. Yeah. Quite. Those two are quite the catalysts and supporters, at least from my perspective, to see what's happening in your country for sauna. Have you saunaed with those guys? I haven't. No, I think they visited my friend Sam Glyn in Bournemouth. Mika messaged me about my exhibition, so hopefully they can come along, which would be
fantastic. So great. It sounds like a great community that you have in your country. What else do you want to share, like about the book? Can you tell us about your exhibition and you're offering it to others? Tell us about its availability and your exhibition coming up.
Yeah, so the book itself is available. I mean, it's £15. It's kind of available worldwide. I can ship internationally for a cost. It's 50 pages of sauna imagery. There's a foreword from Sam, my friend, who talks about Löyly and sort of Finnish roots and stuff like that. And then a Q&A with Olly, who I spoke about from Heartwood. But the exhibition itself is kind of like more of a rounded experience of the book. So a lot of the images from each sauna, and then I'm throwing a few surprises in there with some like sauna hats and birch whisks on the wall.
Fantastic. And where is the exhibition exactly, and when does it run?
So it's in Folkestone, which is the town next to Dover. So still on the Kent coast. And it launches on Monday, the 15th of August, and it only runs that week until the Saturday, 20th. So better book those flights if you're coming from North America.
Right. And I checked with British Airways. Those listening, you can fly over on a last-minute basis to Folkestone. How far from London are you?
It's about 50 minutes from London on the train.
That's not bad at all, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I'd be living, man. I think you got a great spot. You can get to London for check out Oasis when they have their reunion tour out in Hyde Park, and then get back home at night. How late does the train run if you were in London?
I think they must go up till about 11 or 12 at night. Yeah.
I remember trying to catch the last tube home at night after a concert. That was always a challenge. And then there was the night owl, the late night bus, and that was always a trip to try to if you had to take the bus instead of the tube that shut down. But it was classic England at the time, and I don't mean to throw your wonderful country under the bus, but it's sort of reminding me of America today, where things are kind of broken. Like where it was broken in England back then was it's like gigs would run till like 11:30 or midnight, but the tube would shut at 11:20. You're thrown to your own devices there. It's like no, they wouldn't start the concert a little earlier to get everybody back home on the tube. No, the big disconnect. But right on. So I want to ask you a couple of quick questions, George, about sauna for you. Is there anything you want to share with listeners? Because I want to throw some rapid fire questions your way, and I want to prefer you can throw some more information my way. But I want to preface my questions to you. I ask most every guest to Sauna Talk most of these questions. And what I love about these questions is the universality of sauna, right? Like it doesn't, here we are, I'm an American, you're British, and we're talking about a Finnish tradition, primarily a Finnish tradition, you know, and I just think that's so cool. It's like the universality. It's almost like, imagine if you and I were totally into wood-fired pizza or something like that. You know, hey, we don't have to be, you know, from the Amalfi Coast and have a wood-fired pizza oven to really love the product. And so I just want to preface that. I love the universality of sauna, and this podcast is a testament to that. Before I throw a few rapid-fire questions your way, anything else you want to share? It's so great to have you on Sauna Talk, George, man. The global universality of sauna is exhibited here. So share with us anything else. Share with us maybe I don't want to put all these words in your mouth, but maybe a story of your travels or something, please.
I mean, yeah. So I just got back from Finland literally a couple of weeks ago. We went to Helsinki for my friend Sam Glyn-Jones' wedding. So yeah, we spent a week there, and one of the best things was so the day after the wedding, we were all slightly hungover, feet hurting from the dance floor all night, and you know we went to Löyly in Helsinki. I'm not sure, I assume you've been there. So it was a whole wedding party. There was like sort of 30-40 people who went to the sauna at the same time, and that was just incredible. You know, it was my first experience of a Finnish smoke sauna as well. And like the first time I went in there was like almost like a religious experience, I guess, because you know it's almost pitch black in there. If you come in from the outside and it's bright, you can't see anything. It's black. It's a different kind of heat. It's so hot and everything's so hot to touch, and you can't see if there's anyone else in there. And then you sit down, and you know it's sort of 10 minutes of something otherworldly. Yeah, it was incredible. And then obviously jumping out and then going straight into the Gulf of Finland for a swim, which is fantastic. Yeah,
beautifully described. You know, for those listening, smoke sauna is a very revered type of sauna. It's centuries old tradition, and it's very rudimentary in its design and function. This was before the Iron Age, before steel, before you could have pipes that would vent the smoke. So what you would have is just a room. It was always log built, and there's just this pile of rocks and a fire underneath, and you would burn this. You know, you would run this fire hot for 3, 4, or maybe even 5 hours, and then you would pull all the ash out of the room, open the door, and usually one window on the other side to vacate all the smoke out, and then you'd close everything down again. And you could have a sauna for the better part of an afternoon or an evening, 4 or 5 hours, maybe 6, 7 hours of sustained heat, lämpömasse, heat mass retained through the mass amount of rock. And, you know, George, you're absolutely right that the heat in a smoke sauna is revered, and it's different. It's the antithesis of these health club tin can box heater toaster ovens. Yeah. And did you notice when you went into Löyly and found your way up, you know, as your eyes slowly adjusted to the darkness and stuff? I find what's interesting in smoke sauna in general, and that one specifically, where you have a bunch of tourists and stuff like that, but much like in church, like everybody respects the space and speaks a little more softly. Did you notice?
Yeah. And then you have the slightly older Finnish man that continues to pour the water on the stove, and and then the tourists get out.
Yeah, right. The tourists run away. Yeah, and I respect this tradition. I guess it's a tradition, or this culture, or this process where when you toss water on the rocks, certainly in a public sauna, you know, you're quiet and you let the Löyly speak.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Yeah, it was probably hard for you guys the morning after a raucous wedding to keep it quiet.
Yeah, it did the job. It helped us out a lot. So
beautiful. So, do you have a typical sauna routine or some sauna ritual that for you when you sauna? You know, are you quiet when you toss water on the rocks?
Yeah,
What's your ritual?
Yeah, I guess kind of like day to day. I tend to sauna like 3 or 4 times a week in the terrible gym sauna. but I do this with friends, and it's a good social time, despite the lack of a decent sauna. But we usually do sort of 3 or 4 15-minute sessions, and then have a swim or a cold shower, and it's a really good way of catching up with my friends and doing something that isn't having a beer at the pub or something like that. It's a slightly healthier habit for us to get into. So it's
fantastic.
A really nice thing to do with them.
Totally relate. Yeah. So say it is a sauna day and you wake up and you say, okay, there's, this is going to be maybe it's a good sauna session. Maybe you're heading out to one of these 7 saunas that are deployed around Great Britain, a real kick-ass wood-burning sauna, and you're going as you think about it, and then leading up to going to that sauna and working your way through your sauna routine, which is very similar to mine, by the way. 3-4 rounds, sustained cool down sessions, and like in general, if you had to choose like one moment, what moment stands out as your favorite moment in a sauna session like that?
Yeah. I mean, if it's at those good saunas, it's like halfway through the first round, and you've relaxed, you're getting sweaty, starting to unwind, and then a lot of these beachside saunas, they have a big window, so it's just looking out straight out to the sea or the beach, and just completely forgetting about anything else.
Perfect. So round 1, when that heat really starts to penetrate, stands out for you. Beautiful. When you talk with others around your country, what do you think is most misunderstood about sauna that you would like others to know?
Yeah, so I think like my friends that I've introduced that I go with regularly, I think they kind of sort of focus on things like time and temperature, and maybe overthink the whole process, and maybe they don't sort of listen to their body as much as they should. They might stay in too long because they think, I have to hit the 15 minutes that I'm in here. And I tell them not to overthink, and listen to how they feel in their bodies, because obviously sauna should be like a moment to escape, rather than thinking about how it actually works.
Yeah, so well said, brother. Yeah, I totally relate. Everybody is different, and in addition to that, everybody is different at different times. And I know because you nailed it, man. I can relate. Last night I took a sauna, and my rounds were really heavy and sustained, and I really took the heat hard. But there's other times where, who knows, maybe I'm more hungry, maybe I'm more fatigued, whatever, where my rounds are somewhat shorter in duration. But it's you nailed it, brother. It's all about listening to your body. And I just think that there's a great opportunity for all of us to become more in tune to who we are within ourselves, the mind affecting the body, and having that consciousness. And sauna allows that for us.
Yeah.
Much like exercise,
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Hey, George, if you could have a kick-ass mobile sauna and bring it anywhere in the world and take a sauna, where would you choose? First place that comes to mind.
I think somewhere I think somewhere like Antarctica. One of my friends, he's an engineer and works on boats and stuff, and he recently went on an expedition there, and the photos that he was sharing and stuff, there's not many people that can say they've been to Antarctica, and to be able to go there with a sauna and roll around in the ice and dip in the sea somewhere where it's like on the coast. I think it's slightly milder on like the coastal peninsula of Antarctica, where it's kind of like -10, which isn't so bad. You can sort of survive a dip in the sea and that. But a nice sauna right on the coast there, surrounded by some penguins, would be incredible.
That's great. If you could arrange a sauna session, say here in Antarctica, with one other person, anyone in the world, dead or alive, past, present, who would you choose? Who comes to mind first?
Yeah, obviously, I thought about this a lot. You sent me this question specifically, and I thought about it for far too long. And I don't think there's a famous person that I would choose. I don't know. It's that sort of thing where you get like starstruck, and that person might not be very good at sauna, and they might sort of be in there for a few minutes and then get out, and you'll be stuck in there like, oh, that wasn't actually very good. So I think I'd just stick with my friends. Maybe I'd choose some friends that I haven't seen in a while, that like Sam, for example, he lives a few hours away now, so it'd be nice to just stick with some friends and actually enjoy it.
That's a beautiful answer. Yeah, sauna simplicity, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right on, brother. Well, listen, George, this was so great. Again, I wanted to get you on here. We're going to try to get this podcast launched so many Americans and Canadians can get on their planes to London and take the 50-minute train down to Folkestone to see your exhibit. And
That's
promise
right.
me you'll send me a little more information about it. And I think what we'd like to do, if we can get our act together, is let's give away one of your books to listeners.
Yeah.
What is the best email for? Do you mind if you want to give out your email or?
I prefer it easier to contact me on Instagram probably.
Let's do that.
Yeah, that would be good.
What's that Instagram address?
So it's at George Cory and then an underscore. So it's George my name with
Cory.
An underscore at the end.
All right, at George Cory _. And what we'll do here, and I'm just winging on this one. So Sauna Times will purchase this book from you, and then if the winner wants to pay, if the winner's from North America, they're going to probably pay about 15 quid to get it to them, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
But for those listening in England, you'll they can come to Folkestone and pick up the book from you, right?
Yep. Yeah, I can post it anywhere in the UK as well.
Okay. So that's the deal. So those interested, go to George's Instagram, George, Corvey, right?
No, just Cory. Yep, George Cory.
I couldn't read my own writing. Hey man, it's Sunday morning in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
I have a good reason to not read my own writing. George, George, Cory _.
Yeah.
Is that how that rolls?
Yeah. Send me a message if you'd like a book.
Great. And Sauna Times will be giving a book away. And we're just so excited. I can't wait to see. In closure, can you hold up the book and page through and send us out, George, on this wonderful podcast with a quick little photo? Hold it up and share a story. What are we looking at there?
Let me see. Big shout out to my friend Sam and Eileen. So
right on.
There's Sam on the right there. This is their sauna in Bournemouth. It's on Sandbanks Beach in Poole. It's an incredible place. I spent a lot of time there, obviously. Built by Heartwood Saunas. And it's right on the beach there. It's
fantastic. Wood burning, great heat.
Some Löyly happening right there.
Right on, brother. Yeah. Sauna and nature is bigger than all of us.
Yeah. There you go.
George, take us out. Pleasure to have you on Sauna Talk today. Congratulations on your master's project. And when you come to America, we'll be able to send you on a tour, a little bit more than 7 and a little bit less geography if you come to Minneapolis. But take us out. What do you want others to tell us your final thoughts about sauna and what it means to you, and say goodbye to listeners of Sauna Talk, if you don't mind.
Thanks for having me, Glenn. It's been a pleasure. Saunas, since starting this project, it's changed the way, I've run my life. It's part of a daily routine for me now, and I felt the benefits, and I hope other people, especially in the UK, can continue to figure it out for themselves and start using saunas more.